Well, in the years I've been working in the nursing home, falls really can be a big problem. But they're a big problem for the elderly, whether they're in the nursing home or whether they're at home. They just have a harder time getting around. They may have some eyesight problems and what have you. But I've never seen a fatal injury from a fall, thank God. But I have seen injuries where they had a fractured hip, they had a broken arm from falls. And so as you look at that, you think, okay, we want to do all we can to prevent this broken hip, and yet at the same time know that many of the elders have osteoporosis, and if they fall, they may have a broken hip. They may have a broken hip if they don't even fall with osteoporosis. So we look at what are the things we can do, and the best thing we can do in a nursing home is get to know our elders. What is it they like to do? What is it they're accustomed to doing? You know, if they're used to right after lunch going to the bathroom, then we want to be sure that we're taking them. If not, they're going to try and get up and they're going to fall. Well, the important thing is that you get to know your residents and that the staff get to know them. And so consistent assignments in the nursing home really helps so that they get to know their elders. There are also assessments done when they're first admitted to a nursing home that say, you know, they like to play bridge at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or they're going to get agitated a little bit at supper time. And if you know these things and your staff knows them, then they can be prepared and have some activities or something going on to help them at that time.
We do an admission evaluation with the residents, which enables me to meet them, have a conversation with them while I'm asking them assessment questions to determine their likes, their dislikes, even their cognitive abilities, their physical abilities.
We're fortunate here that we have the greenhouses where that group of CNAs or Shabazz really know their residents. But we have consistent assignments in the Legacy House, and so they know their residents too. But it's a little bit different when you're in the home environment of the greenhouse as compared to the regular nursing home.
The one lady I took to our sitter-size program. That's where we all stay in our chairs and do upper body exercises. Some exercises if you can. This lady was unable to do any of that. However, we took a restraint off while I was right next to her for safety reasons, to see how she would react. And she smiles and loves to be in that environment anyway. It's all about being in a different environment other than their room, or you know, to move around and see different things, hear different noises. And so she smiled during it, because I would call her name, and she was fine without her restraint. We were real thrilled about that. She had a lap buddy. So then I took the same resident and did another time of the day. I took her to our movie theater that week, which we kind of created our little movie theater. It's not a real theater. But we watched a movie, pop popcorn, turn the lights off, you know, that sort of thing. And she sat there and watched the movie, and with no restraint. And I'm walking around asking questions, talking, "You okay?" to each person, or handing or giving them a sip to drink, etc. And she was never at risk to come out of that chair. We were very happy about that. And her family agreed that we could take it off, and she was one of our reductions.
Working with families to change their mind about restraints is probably one of the hardest things that you have to do. So on the front end, you need to, before they come, let them know that in this nursing home, we don't want to use restraints. And really talk to them about the dangers of restraints. Even though you do that, once they get into the nursing home, and if they fall, then all of a sudden they want a restraint put on. So you need to sit down and talk to them. And one of the things that helps is if your staff know the family and really know them, and so that they have confidence in them. Like, we had one lady that fell out of her wheelchair. I happened to know her daughter very well. Her daughter said when she fell, "I want a restraint on Mom." So the next day I talked to the daughter and went through, okay, she stood up, she fell out of the wheelchair. If we put a restraint on, she's still going to try and stand up. She may just pull the wheelchair over on her and have worse injury from having the restraint on. And she said, you know, the daughter said, "Okay, thanks for talking to me. I understand what you're saying. No, we won't put a restraint on." But I had to say, I can't promise you your mom won't fall, but she won't pull the wheelchair over on her when she falls. It's amazing what the gentleman from housekeeping can tell us about some of the elders and what have you, and what he sees them doing. And sometimes he has a suggestion that maybe if you did such and such, he wouldn't be so agitated and possibly need a restraint. So it's worked well.
And we were looking at all our folks in restraints, of course, and so we were trying to see what we could do to reduce him. And we noticed he was slumping off to the side quite a bit, and we'd straighten him up and he'd slump over, so that lap buddy was helping him from sliding down or sliding. And then one of our folks, and it was actually the housekeeper, he said, "He looks like he's too small for that chair." And we're going, "Oh my goodness, you're right." You know, it was like, where are we surprising ourselves that I think we looked so deep and so far at everyone that we didn't see that right away, but he did. And so we were able to call PTOTN, and they were able to adjust his chair, get him a correct fitting chair, and his restraint was released. And it was really terrific. So once again, that teamwork was all, you know, it took that to get there. Everybody steps in. Knowing that the group activity, let's just example, knowing the group activities going on, one of the housekeepers might say, "Mrs. Jones, Peggy will be in after." I mean, we all are involved together to help our residents.
In order to be successful, to decrease falls and restraints, you've got to educate your staff. And that's a big, big process in being able to do this, because the staff for years have thought that restraints will keep people from falling. And so I think that education's real important. You got to be sure that administration's with you. And but mainly it's the education of the staff that makes you successful.
I like to put that worker in a wheelchair. We have a lot of population, the majority of our population are in chairs, and give them an hour of their day in that wheelchair and let them operate what they have to do in that wheelchair. And that also gives them an idea of how they are to relate, need to relate to them. You know, you don't talk to them behind their backs. They don't know who it is. You know, treat them with more respect and dignity when you know what they're going through. So that's a piece of teaching them how to be involved as well.
You want to maintain your independence, but you got to have a little bit of help, and that's hard for all of us that are getting older to admit that we need some help.
It's just a beautiful, amazing place that people do join in, and it's like the village is here. It takes a village, and we are one.